you are measuring ROI wrong, or you're not measuring it at all, which, to be honest, is just as dangerous. If you are a small brand working in a startup or you're building something by yourself, you may not think that ROI is applicable to you. I am here to show you a new formula to measure ROI, whether you are spending money or not, because knowing what drives your business forward is so imperative when you are building your own brand or starting from scratch. I'm Gina, I'm a marketing director from South London, and I spent the last 15 years working with small brands and startups, building out their marketing departments and growing huge brands. This video is going to show you what formula you should be using to measure your ROI. It's then going to show you how you apply it so that you know you are doing the things that drive growth. And I'm going to talk you through a free template I'm giving you so that you can measure ROI. If you are a small brand, if you are a startup, if you are doing this for yourself, you may think that ROI is not applicable because you're not spending money. Especially if you watch my videos and you subscribe and you know that you can do marketing for basically free or on a tiny budget. Measuring the revenue generated from your spend may seem something that's really far down the line. But the best way to build your business for growth is to understand what drives the growth. That's why I'm here, to break it down for you, to give you the free tool and to show you how to measure so you can get bigger. So what is ROI? ROI is a return on investment. It is what you are getting back from what you're putting in. Traditionally, measuring the revenue you get back from the cost put in is how big brands show what's working. But you don't have that luxury, and you don't need that luxury. In fact, big brands should be doing this as well. The formula you need to understand your ROI is value generated minus input divided by input and times by 100 to get that percentage or to get that ratio. Now, this seems vague, but it's not. It is an excellent foundational formula in which you will grow your business. So let's break down what that formula actually means. Modern marketing is not just about the revenue. Consumption has changed. People care about the brands that they buy from. Just measuring your revenue will not actually tell you how you are seen as a brand and guide you on how you grow in this modern age. Every marketing department in the world, from Netflix and Nike down to a solopreneur, should be measuring value over revenue. Your metrics that you measure should measure the value you are giving to people, the value of your content, the value of your marketing, and the revenue when you get round that flywheel. And you should be measuring that value at every aspect of your flywheel. If you don't know what a flywheel is, pop back to my video on how you build one, because this all feeds into what you're doing to generate that big growth and generate that revenue. And that is giving value to your audience. So you as a brand need to understand what value you give to your audience and how you measure that. The best ways to measure that you're giving value are things like your engagement rate, your combined engagements, your follower count, your click-through rate, your website sessions, your conversion. These things all show actions taken by your audience and bringing them into your community, your excitement, your advocacy, everything that you're building as a brand, all the value. Value exists outside of just revenue. So to make this formula work, you as a brand need to have your core metrics that you're tracking to show how valuable you are to your audience. And now, if you're a small brand or a startup, you may not put spend into your marketing. If you follow me, you do not have to put spend into your marketing. So that traditional formula of costs is just not interesting. What's interesting is what you are actually investing into it. Now, this formula grows with you as you grow, so that investment can translate into actually costs down the line. But if you're starting out, you will find that you are actually spending mostly your time. If you're a startup, if you're a small brand, you probably have a limited budget, but you can translate this investment as those two things. So when we're looking at ROI calculation, we look at the value generated minus the investment divided by the investment overall and then times by 100. So let's look at an example. Our value generated is your list of KPIs, the list of metrics that you're measuring. In the flywheel video, we spoke about different metrics around that wheel. I will do another video on key metrics you need to measure when you are starting out in your marketing, but we look at that value. Our value that we're trying to generate is leads. And what we're trying to do to generate those leads is a social campaign. So our ROI formula is going to be the number of leads we generated minus our investment into that, and then divided as a whole by the investment and times by 100. Now, if you are just starting out, you need to care about the minutiae. This template breaks everything down into the actual action you took. So when you're looking at driving that ROI, you know what you did. In this example of leads generated, we did a social campaign. So we did some posts on social. Now, we are a small brand, we're a startup, so we did this all organically. But these social posts took about 3 hours. So that's 190 minutes. Now, if you are not spending across any of your marketing, this is very easy to pitch time against time. So if we look at this ROI formula of leads generated, we can take the number of leads generated from activity as 700 new leads. And this activity was a social post through to a landing page. Now, this might have been completely free if you're on the MailChimp free plan. You might have paid $100 for this, but whatever the cost or investment, that is what you are taking away from those number of leads. If you've paid money into it, it is the cost that you spent on it. If not, it is the time. And this is the key. You can measure ROI by time instead of money when you are starting out. But say we paid $100 for the social asset and the landing page. So we've got 700 leads from $100. So we do 700 minus 100 divided by that 100 and then times that by 100 to get a nice round number. And that gives us an ROI of 6 to 1. Those leads haven't generated revenue, but we are tracking what we are actually getting from our time, energy, and money. If you are looking at this without any spend, if you were on one of those free programs, you are looking at time. So your 700 leads divided by your time, divided by takes 2 hours, so 120 minutes, and then divided by your time again. So that's nearly a 5 to 1 ROI. But wait, you say, these are two different ROIs for the same thing. When you are small and you are starting up, you want to make sure that you are measuring apples and apples, oranges and oranges. You want to distinctly break down your ROI measurements from paid versus organic or non-paid. At this point in your marketing journey, it doesn't matter to compare the two together. What matters is what is working within those two aspects of paid and not paid. So the two things you are measuring is time and money. You need to know what is driving the biggest ROI through your time, and you need to know what is driving the biggest ROI through your money, because that is where you're going to double down. The best way to do this is to take my free template and plot in every action that you are doing as a brand, as a person. This may seem like a lot of admin, but what you want to do is make sure you are measuring everything at the beginning so you understand what drives growth. Because as a small brand, as a startup, as someone by themselves, you do not have the time, effort, or energy to do everything, so you need to focus on what works. By measuring distinctly these two things that you are giving into your business and what is driving the biggest growth, you will know where you need to spend your time. Now, this formula of value generated minus investment divided by investment is incredibly powerful. You can apply this across all of the metrics that you use as a business and see what is driving the most for you. This then means that you can make informed decisions on what you should spend your time doing. Run this practice of adding this formula into everything you do as a marketer, and you will see that the results will speak for themselves. You will be completely unbiased in your approach to how you spend your time, effort, and energy. And when you start moving across to spending money, you will already know where to invest those first pennies and how to measure whether that's working. This formula is so important. Stop measuring ROI in the wrong way, or stop not measuring ROI. Doing things without knowing what they're driving is a bit like trying to play a game with your eyes closed. You will never know how to actually win because you can't see what you're doing. Stripping back to clear formulas and excellent processes is something anyone can do in their marketing journey with no budget whatsoever. I am here to show you how to do things with no money, no time, no skill set, because I want you to get that big brand growth. Please do sign up, subscribe, follow along, and let's do great marketing.